The note was so small, it almost looked like trash on all that chrome and steel. It was folded tight and tucked under the mirror of a black Harley parked outside Ruby's diner. The bike was huge, loud-looking, with the Hell's Angels patch shining on the tank. People usually crossed the street when they saw it. Nobody ever touched it. Except today, someone did. Jake Reaper Morrison stepped out of the diner and stopped. His eyes went straight to the mirror. The scrap of paper flapped gently in the breeze. Every old instinct inside him woke up at once. In his world, surprises left on a bike were never good. He walked over and took the note. His fingers were rough and scarred, but they held the paper very gently. The writing inside was small, round, and careful. A child had written it. Dear motorcycle man, I think bad men are hurting my teacher. She has bruises and she is scared. Nobody believes me because I am just a kid, but I see things. Please help Miss Sarah. She is nice, and she does not deserve to be scared. From Emma, age 8. I am sorry if I was not supposed to touch your bike. It is very cool. Jake read it once. Then he read it again. The parking lot sounds faded. The world narrowed to the soft paper in his hand and the fear between the lines. Reaper, you good Tommy Wrench Collins walked out of the diner with 2 coffees. He saw Jake's face and his smile faded. What is that? Jake handed him the note. Wrench read it slowly. When he reached the part about nobody believing her, his jaw tightened. A kid wrote this. Left it on my bike. Jake looked across the street. Ridgemont Elementary sat there behind a chain-link fence. The last kids were heading home. Near the front doors stood a slim woman with dark hair. She wore a neat cardigan and held a clipboard. She smiled at each child, but even from here Jake could see how tense her shoulders were. She flinched when a car door slammed. Emma says her name is Miss Sarah. Jake spoke quietly. Could be a story. Emma made up Wrench watched the woman too. Could be. Or it could be the only person paying attention is 8 years old. Jake stayed silent. The note pressed against his palm like a promise. He thought of his own childhood, his mother hiding bruises, neighbors looking away, no one stepping in. What are you thinking, Reaper? I am thinking a scared little girl chose us, not the police, not the principal, us. He nodded toward the school. I am thinking that teacher over there looks like she is waiting for something bad to happen. Wrench sighed. You want to get involved? Jake slipped the note into the inside pocket of his vest. I want to find out who Miss Sarah is, and I want to know if that kid is right. The engines of their bikes rumbled to life. The scene looked like trouble to anyone watching. 2 Hell's Angels turning toward an elementary school. But this ride was different. This time, the man everyone feared was following a fragile line of ink from a child's hand. A note on a bike, a hidden bruise, an 8-year-old voice nobody believed, and a decision that would change all of their lives. Sarah Mitchell stood outside Ridgemont Elementary as the final bell faded. Children poured past her toward waiting cars. She smiled at each one, just like always. Calm, kind, steady. No one noticed how carefully she stood, or how her hand rested against her side, as if breathing too deep might hurt. Under her sweater, dark bruises bloomed along her ribs. She told herself the same thing she told herself every day. It was an accident. He did not mean it. He was just tired. The words had lost their power, but she kept repeating them anyway. Miss Mitchell Sarah turned. Emma Rodriguez stood beside her, backpack slipping off one shoulder. Her eyes were sharp and worried, not playful like a child should be. Are you okay? Of course I am. Sarah smiled, quick and practiced. Why do you ask? You are holding your side again. Sarah's hand dropped instantly. Heat crept up her neck. I am just sore from exercise. Emma did not smile back. It looks like it hurts. Before Sarah could answer, a car honked. Emma's mother waved from the curb. I have to go, Emma said, then paused. I see things, Miss Mitchell. She climbed into the car and looked back through the window. Sarah felt cold as the vehicle pulled away. Her phone buzzed. Where are you? Dinner better be ready when I get home. Her fingers shook as she typed. Leaving school now, I will be there soon. Across the street, 2 motorcycles sat idle. Jake watched Sarah through dark lenses. He noticed how stiff she moved, how she scanned the lot before turning toward her car. That is her, he said quietly. Wrench nodded. She looked scared. They started the engines after Sarah drove off, keeping a careful distance. Sarah's home sat at the edge of town, small, neat, quiet, the kind of place people pointed at and said, looks peaceful. Jake and Wrench parked 2 blocks away and walked back. The porch light flicked on as Sarah stepped inside. Through the kitchen window, they saw her begin to cook. She moved fast, nervous, like she was racing something invisible. A man entered the room, tall, confident, well-dressed, Marcus Wrench muttered. They watched him step close to Sarah, too close. His mouth moved sharply. Sarah tried to step away. His hand closed around her wrist and yanked her back. Jake's jaw locked. Marcus shoved her against the counter. Her head snapped back. She raised her hands in surrender. Then it stopped. Marcus stepped away as if nothing happened. He sat at the table. Sarah stayed frozen for a moment. Then she grabbed her wrist and kept cooking. Jake exhaled slowly. That kid was right, we call the cops, Wrench asked. Not yet. She will deny it. They always do. So what now? Now we watch. We record. We make sure when this stops, it stays stopped. They returned every night. Jake filmed quietly. Dates, times, bruises, raised voices, hands grabbing arms, doors slammed inches from her face. 17 times in 4 days. Jake hated every minute, but he waited. On Friday afternoon, Emma walked straight up to Jake's bike. Are you helping her? Jake knelt so they were eye level. I believe you. Her face broke with relief. She is getting worse. Today. Her hand shook when she wrote. She wore a scarf, even though it was warm, covering bruises. Emma nodded. No one listens because I am little. Jake placed his hand flat on his chest. I am listening. You did the right thing. Will you help her? We will, but you must stay safe. Tell adults if anything scares you. Emma hugged him hard. Thank you, motorcycle man. She ran off before he could speak. Wrench stepped beside him. So what is the move? Jake looked toward Sarah's house. The watching ends tonight. The house went quiet as the sun dropped behind the trees. Sarah moved through the kitchen on instinct alone. Chop, stir, set the table. Her body knew the routine even when her mind wanted to run. She heard Marcus's car before it stopped. The sound tightened her chest. The door opened hard. Dinner ready. Almost, she kept her voice low. 5 minutes, I said I wanted it ready when I got home. I know I am sorry. Marcus stepped closer. His shadow filled the kitchen. You are always sorry, always slow, always disappointing. She backed toward the counter. Please let me finish cooking. His hand shot out and locked around her wrist. Pain burned up her arm. Marcus, you are hurting me. Good. Maybe now you will learn. The doorbell rang. They both froze. Marcus loosened his grip. His eyes shifted to the front door. You expecting someone? No. The doorbell rang again. Then heavy knocking. Marcus swore and walked away from her. Sarah stayed still. Her heart hammered. Marcus opened the door part way. What do you want? 2 men stood on the porch, large, covered in tattoos, leather vests heavy on their shoulders. The taller one spoke calmly. Marcus Weber. Who are you? My name is Jake Morrison. This is Tommy Collins. We are here about your situation with Miss Mitchell. Marcus laughed sharply. Get off my property. Jake did not move. We have been watching your house for 4 days. We documented 17 incidents of physical aggression. Tonight would have been 18. Sarah's blood ran cold. Watching. Someone had seen. Marcus's face darkened. This is harassment. I will call the police. Please do, Tommy said, lifting his phone. We have video photos, timestamps, witness statements. Marcus tried to slam the door. Jake's boot stopped it cold. You are going to step outside, Jake said calmly. Away from her, or what Jake leaned slightly forward. Or you explain all of this to the police, the school board, your employer, your family. Silence. Marcus stepped outside. Jake glanced past him. Miss Mitchell, lock the door. Call someone you trust. Sarah obeyed without thinking. Her hands shook as she turned the lock. She dialed her sister and stayed on the line. 20 minutes later, Marcus walked past the window. His face was pale. He got in his car and drove away without looking back. Jake knocked gently. Miss Mitchell. It is safe. She opened the door slowly. Jake stood there without the hard edge now. Just a tired man with steady eyes. Are you hurt? I do not think so. Her voice broke. Who are you? He held out a folded piece of paper. An 8-year-old girl left this on my bike. She said someone was hurting her teacher. She asked for help. Sarah read the note. Her knees gave out. She sank to the floor. Tears soaked the paper. Emma, she saw it. I thought I was hiding it. Tommy spoke softly. Abuse hides in plain sight. Kids notice more than adults. Why would you do this? Sarah asked through tears. You do not know me. Jake sat across from her. Because I grew up watching my mother get hurt. Because when someone asks for help, you do not ignore it. Especially not a child. He met her eyes. You are not alone anymore. They talked for a long time. About options. About safety. About tomorrow. When Jake finally stood to leave, Sarah felt something she had not felt in years. Relief. Outside, Emma watched from her mother's car across the street. Jake raised his hand slightly. She smiled. For the first time, the fear had found its match. Morning came without shouting, without slammed doors, without fear waiting in the hallway. Sarah woke up and did not flinch. The quiet felt strange, almost dangerous. She sat on the edge of the bed and listened. Nothing. Marcus had not come back. The house felt lighter, like it could finally breathe. Her phone buzzed. It was Jake. Good morning. Just checking in. Are you safe? She stared at the screen for a long moment before typing back. Yes, I am safe. Thank you. At school, Sarah walked through the halls with careful steps. She expected whispers, questions, judgment. None came. Kids laughed. Lockers slammed. Life continued. Emma spotted her immediately and rushed over. Miss Mitchell, you look different, do I? Yes, you look lighter. Sarah smiled. A real one. Thank you, Emma. During class, Sarah noticed the way Emma watched her closely, not with fear this time, with relief. At lunch, the principal asked Sarah to step into her office. Sarah's pulse jumped. Please sit. The principal folded her hands. I received an email last night, video evidence, details I wish I had known sooner. I am so sorry we did not listen before Sarah swallowed. I was afraid to speak. That ends now. You have our full support. Take whatever time you need. For the first time, Sarah felt backed instead of cornered. That afternoon, Jake stood across the street as students were dismissed. He stayed near his bike, arms crossed, watching. Parents glanced nervously at first. Then someone nodded. Another smiled. Emma ran up to him. He will not come back, right? No, Jake said firmly. He will not. Emma relaxed. My mom says you are scary, but good. Jake smiled slightly. Your mom is half right. Emma giggled and ran off. That night, Marcus tried to call. Sarah watched the phone ring until it stopped. She blocked the number with a shaking thumb. Then she locked the doors and sat quietly with a blanket around her shoulders. She slept through the night. Days passed. Jake helped Sarah contact support groups. Wrench showed up to help change locks. Another club member installed better lighting. No questions asked. People whispered less each day. The biker stopped becoming a threat and started becoming protection. One afternoon, Sarah approached Jake herself. "Why do people listen to you?" Jake shrugged. "Because fear gets attention, but respect keeps it. You could have walked away. I almost did." "What changed?" A little girl refused to stay quiet. Sarah's eyes filled. "She saved me." Jake shook his head. "You saved yourself." She just reminded us all to look. As they spoke, Emma watched from the playground. She saw her teacher laughing with the motorcycle man. The bad feeling in her chest finally faded. Sometimes justice does not shout. Sometimes it arrives quietly, wearing leather, riding steel, listening when others refuse to hear. And in that town, the man everyone feared had become the man nobody would forget. 3 months passed. The bruises faded. The fear loosened its grip. Sarah's life began to take shape again. She moved into a new apartment on the other side of town, smaller but brighter, new locks, better lighting, windows that let the sun in instead of hiding it. She slept through the night now. Therapy helped. The first sessions were hard. Saying the words out loud hurt. But each week, the pain carried less weight. She stopped blaming herself. She started trusting her own voice. At school, Sarah stood taller. Her students noticed. "Miss Mitchell, you smile more now," one boy said. "I feel better," she answered honestly. Emma noticed more than anyone. "You are not scared anymore." "Not like before," Sarah said. "Because you helped me." Emma frowned. "I just paid attention." "Exactly." Sarah laughed softly. Attention changes lives. One afternoon, as students were dismissed, Jake sat on his bike near the curb. Not blocking traffic, not drawing attention, just present. Parents no longer pulled their kids away. Some nodded, some waved. One father even walked over. "Thanks for watching out for the school," Jake answered with a short nod. Emma ran up, waving a paper. "I got a perfect score, that is amazing," Jake said. "See, details matter." Emma grinned and ran back to her mother. Sarah walked toward Jake. She hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "I never properly thanked you." "You do not owe me anything," Jake replied. "I do. You protected me when I could not protect myself. You learned how. That is what matters." She looked at him. "You helped because of your past, because of my mother." "Yes, because I know what it feels like to wish someone would step in and no one does." Silence sat between them. Then Sarah spoke again. "There is a teacher appreciation dinner next week." Jake raised an eyebrow. "That sounds formal, it is." She smiled slightly. "Would you come with me?" "As my guest." Jake looked down at his vest, then back up. People might stare. "Let them," she said. "Heroes do not all wear the same clothes." A slow smile crossed his face. "Then I would be honored." The night of the dinner, the room went quiet when they entered. Conversations paused. Eyes turned. Jake kept his posture calm. Sarah held her head high. By the end of the evening, people approached them. "Thank you for helping our teacher. We misjudged you." "You did the right thing," Jake answered simply. "Anyone would have done it. But they did not," Sarah said. "That is the difference." After that night, things changed. Jake was no longer a rumor. He was a presence. The school felt safer. The town felt quieter. Emma watched it all and understood something important. Speaking up had power, and believing someone when no one else would could rewrite everything. Justice did not come with sirens or anger. It came with patience, with proof, with people willing to stand still long enough to see the truth. And for Sarah, healing no longer felt impossible. It felt earned. 6 months later, the classroom was louder than usual. Show and tell day always was. Emma stood at the front, clutching a photo with both hands. She took a breath and lifted it for everyone to see. "This is my friend Jake." In the picture, a tall man stood beside a black motorcycle. Tattoos, leather vest, calm eyes. Beside him stood Miss Mitchell, smiling like she never had before. He rides motorcycles, Emma continued. People think he is scary, but he is not. The class listened. Last year I noticed my teacher was being hurt. Adults did not believe me, so I wrote a note and left it on his bike. She paused. He listened. He helped. Now my teacher is safe. The room was quiet. Heroes come in all sizes, Emma said. Sometimes the smallest person sees the biggest truth. Applause filled the room. After school, Emma ran into the parking lot. Jake waited by his bike, like always. I told them about you, she said proudly, about listening and being brave. Jake knelt. You were the brave one. You spoke when others stayed quiet. You changed a life. We did it together, Emma said firmly. Sarah walked up beside them, calm, confident, free. Ready to go home? She asked. Yes, Emma said, skipping ahead. Jake and Sarah watched her go. You know, Jake said softly. I came here for business. I never planned to stay. Sarah smiled. Plans change when people matter. He nodded. All because an 8-year-old left a note on my bike. They walked together. Sometimes justice does not arrive with anger. Sometimes it arrives with care, with patience, with someone finally choosing to listen. Thank you for watching this story. Remember this. Do not judge by appearance. Believe people when they speak. Pay attention to small voices, because one brave choice, one simple note, can change everything.